There's a saying that goes that charity begins at home, which is as well as bad character, not just charity. There are so many other things that also begin at home. And as parents, wards, guardians, we need to, open our eyes and, start picking some little traits when we see things happen among our kids, our children, their friends, and the kind of friends that they keep in school and, every other place. So something came up, on the internet some days back where there were 3 students, one of them who had a phone, and they were recording themselves beating, hitting, bullying, maltreating a younger student who was literally crying and begging for help. And they were not just beating like, oh, okay, show me your hand, let me flog you, which is a normal thing in school, in secondary school. Mind you, this was happening in Nigerian secondary school. These students were literally using their bodies, their hands, their belt, their tie to tie the boy to. They were using even their legs to hit his head. And this does not sit well with me. It doesn't make sense to me. You know what even struck me more is that when the guy was given suspension, I believe he shouldn't be given suspension. He should be expelled. Expulsion, and in fact, schools in Nigeria, let him go and do homeschooling. Maybe when he's isolated from his peers and stuff, he would learn. When his father came to pick him, he was still showing a bit of akbobi, like arrogance, like even when his father was telling him, move you, and they were now saying, son of a rejected, they were just, when students are just cheering and clapping and they're happy that you were being expelled, which means that boy has a bad character. He must have been doing this to order this thing. And these are the things we need to start looking at, because as soon as he leaves there, it's university, he becomes a youth. Before he causes mayhem around himself. This is not nice. How do we tackle this issue of bullying? Because these things are just 1% of what happens in several schools, including government schools.
Bullying is something that has actually been there for a very long time, especially in secondary schools and in our boarding schools. Yeah, is seen as a norm now. When a child comes into school, JSS1 already, you're in the dormitory, and then you see somebody coming to meet you. That, okay, what did you bring? Since you're a new person now, that's when they start initiating to the, like, what did you bring? Who's your father? Like that. They even take stuff from you. So somebody growing up in such an environment, because most people that are in JSS1 are already 10, 11 years. So now they're already growing up in the environment. Okay, these are it's been done. These are things that have been done. JSS2, JSS3, start seeing them, oh, even them, they're already getting familiar. So they're already planning, because even when I was in school, they used to treat us like that. So already you start thinking of what you do when you get to that level, because it's your own time. And they will tell you your time is coming. That's what they will tell you.
So wait for your time.
Yeah, they tell you your own time is coming. So you just have to, there are times a senior would send a bunch of you, will give you 100 naira. What they're telling you to buy is more than 100 naira. They still ask you to bring back change, So it's something that has been happening in schools that needs to be checked. And most times when you report, the management does nothing or less about it. You just get to report, they call the person, they caution the person, and that's just it. Nothing is really done. So it's something that has actually been operating. And I think this is what grows and even escalates into cultism, because when somebody wants to exercise their strength over the other person, to claim dominance over the other person, is what leads to cultism in the university, because in the university has to grow beyond, because you can't just look at somebody and command the person to come to the university like that. So that's why you need to initiate or belong to a group where you can have that power, because most of these things is because they want to be above others and exercise strength, call things and things happen the way they want. So it leads to cultism, which actually leads to producing criminals in society today. So it starts from the roots, from homes, and then the school environment. I think secondary schools need to improve in their disciplinary habits and need to pay more attention and check the students and the people they are teaching and their reason in school, because schools these days, I think, living in the Gen Z generation, everybody is just scared of, and you don't know who his father is. You can just discipline someone's child like that. I'm not saying they should beat somebody's child per se, but there's a way parents are also reacting to when their children or their kids are being disciplined in school. They don't just want to hear what happened. Most of them just want to be like, my child is right. Yeah, most parents will be like, you don't have the right to discipline their child in that manner, like that. And most times you report to their parents, they just be like, don't do that again. I think measures should be put in place to prevent these things from happening.
Now, thank you very much, Mr. Daniel. Now, growing up, Mr. Manuel, I used to hear that you don't just pass through school, school also passes through. You learn from school. The teachers also teach you. Outside your parents, that's why we have the PTA, Parent Teachers Association. If a child starts having some type of, is sick, or the parent, whoever is, your child is sick, come pick, or this child, I'm noticing is beginning to have some, now bully, or they call you as a parent, oh, please watch your child, Growing up, that was the kind of formation we had. Sometimes they flog you in school, and you go back home, and they say, what do you do? They will flog you again, because you messed up in school. But it looks like it's not the same, feeling. I don't want to use the word curriculum, because curriculum has to do with, standard of what they teach and all of that. As much as there is education, don't you think there should also be character development in school, which has to start from tender age?
Thank you for that question. I think most of our schools, from the inception, you can hardly see a school that, school is not about going there to go and learn mathematics, chemistry.
Yes.
You have to learn character development. You learn, because you are meeting different, diverse people, culture, religion. So
and the rest.
definitely your goals or what you think of might not align with them. So that is why we have what they call bullying in school. They do see it at norms, but it's not. And my belief system don't align with the handling of, there is no way a student, be it senior or junior. I was once a senior, I was once a junior too. But there is no way a student is given any power, be it veto power or any authority over a junior one. There are ways you can correct students. That doesn't necessarily lead to you dehumanizing them. We have punishments you can give to them. Schools, go to the schools. I once watched toilets.
Cut grass.
Cut grass. By the time you cut it and you see listers like this.
In fact, if you see any intending or coming danger, you just move to the other end of, move to a peaceful side. So these are things I expected. I was once a senior. My juniors one of them met me. I worked in one teaching hospital, so he saw me senior because sorry I have to say, but they loved me because I don't believe in caning. In fact, I don't believe in using cane. Cane is for animals. So there are ways you can address it. Students, when they see their senior ones, they start having that fear. Our parents are not even helping matters. Our teachers are there. They are not even helping. They'll be like, it will get to you. Soon you will do your own and still pass.
I wonder why would you say such? Your tongue will come. What do you mean? Are you saying that they should continue bullying?
I think it's what somebody started it, and it has been like that. So it's we have seen it as a norm. So everybody, but now though, with the current trending of young
coming up,
potential O-level holders, nobody cares of all those. Take it back to the peak 2007 to 2013. If you see a junior student and senior student, you'll be like, oh, this senior student, we don't suppose leave school. They are very energetic. And let me tell you, this thing, I went to all boys school. I didn't go to UNICEF school all through and I went to all my junior and secondary were boarding. This thing, do you know it leads to sexual harassment? This bullying and sexual harassment is almost the same thing but put together. Because if somebody can tell you, collect 100 naira, go and buy me Fanta that is worth 200, bring change for me. That person can still do something to you and tell you not to say a word.
Or send you stealing.
Exactly. These things leads to, leads to so many things in school. One scene happened in Lagos. They killed that boy. They didn't tell the parent because due to dehumanizing and the whole stuff. Now let me tell you, Nigeria is not even a country whereby you can, maybe after being bullied, you can go back. Let me tell you, go and read about Nicholas Cruz. He was a US I think he was 17 years. He was bullied and I don't know what happened. He was expelled from that school. What he did next was I don't know how he got access to a gun. He used it, invaded the school, killed about junior one, senior, because his own was that they, nobody, they will tell you this person is not at fault. The seniors are not, you supposed to be doing any. So some persons might not take it. And this thing goes to the extent of, destroying people's mental health. They believed, so many people was built on, they believe everything is bullying. And they take it to their office, professional level.
Professional, yes. They believe in bullying.
We talked about how the employers want you to, but if to say that we have this character development in school, being, learning, you have to understand some situations. So this bullying of 18, like the one that happened in Benedion, I believe the student involved, the victim is now, I think he or she is undergoing
treatment
now.
Hospital, yeah.
Whereas the predator is
can be home chilling, drinking juice and eating biscuits.
Within his right to
yes.
do. It's his time to do that.
With no good punishment, they just let him live like that.
And again, another factor is that our teachers are not helping matters. The then governor of my state, Willie Obiano, I think one bullying was tough in Anambra State Universal Basic Education, but that's the post-primary, the secondary school setting. What did he do? He gave an executive order and said, no student, no teacher has the right to raise a cane, be it cane or whatever, on any student. That the only person given the sole right to treat any student is the principal. Is there. Go to Anambra State, go and ask them. This thing happened within 2014, 2015. When he came in 2014, it was peak. The bullying was here and there. So he just said, it's only the principal that has the right. No teacher. In my school, we have about 80, 90. Who are you? So at that time, even our principal can only assign the teacher that can help, discipline a student. But that thing was at its peak, that seniors, they don't know what they are doing. It's all about you bullying me.
And with a state like Anambra that has a lot of Agbero-ish culture in it, it's a problem.
So this whole thing, and this whole thing leads to, like I told you, it destroys people's mental health. Yeah. This thing can lead to a life-damaging, they'll be like,
yes.
That mentality is the mentality they grew up with. They see it as if they are not being loved.
Yeah.
Because it's in a school setting. But I don't believe, like my own beliefs, like even when I was in school, I never believed that you can raise a cane on, because somebody paid my school fees to be here. And that person you are raising a cane on, somebody still pay his school fees to be there. So you don't have the right. I believe that in my school, though, we have disciplinary committees that handles anything that has to do. But still, the seniors on their own will still do things. But this thing basically leads to sexual harassment.
Now, talk about sexual harassment. There's been a case of a culture called fertility festival, which turns to raping women. And if you look at it too, there's a little bit of bully in that stuff. Because if you do not have that, you are not aggravated, you're not showing anger to want to see a woman, a crowd comes out and says something we are doing, and they now catch a woman and start undressing her. And on the road, not even that they cut, why would I even say catch her and put her in somewhere covered? On the road, whether covered or anywhere, rape is rape. But the government has still not done anything. The kings, the queens, the Ezemos and the Ezedibias of these such communities, they've still not done anything about it. Why can't we pass a law that as soon as a man is caught raping, he should be castrated? Let his manhood be cut out. Are you with me, Mr. Daniel and Mr. Manuel? What do you think?
Rape is
because it is your gender.
It's a very grievous offense. Coming to that culture or that tradition, I have the people practicing that culture, or those who laid that foundation, to blame, in the sense that, we live in a world today where somebody be like, and youth of this generation, you grew up, you forgot where you came from, you forgot your tradition, blah, blah, no, they tell you all those things. So this is what they want us to go back and embrace. They tell us we've been worshiping white gods like this. So this is what they definitely want us to go back and embrace. In the 21st century, you're raping women on the street and calling it a culture and a tradition. I think that's demonic, and it's something the government should have actually acted on immediately, with immediate effect. Something of such should, for me, by now, it should actually lead to a protest, because it's crazy.
Yes, but What
It's
are
crazy.
they?
For the fact that it came on the internet at this time, it means it has been happening.
Yes.
But this time around, it just went viral. It has been happening. It's a tradition, it's a culture, according to them. So it's what they do, and it's very, very diabolical. It's not something that should be embraced, and I think the government should get involved on it, and the right bill should be passed regarding it.
So
Okay.
in 2 minutes, Mr. Emmanuel,
Okay.
so we can wrap up because it's becoming lengthy and I know we are all enjoying the conversation.
Mm.
Should male be males or male? Men, any man, any men, I don't know. Should they be castrated when they are caught?
Thank you. Well, please
That's
let
decent,
me
man.
correct an impression here. Rape is not a gender-based something. It's not women rape men, men rape
No, there's no
women.
place in the law that a woman can rape a man. No. There's no place.
You men.
When they say a
Calm
woman
down,
rapes
let
a
me-
man,
Yeah.
I'm not
you-
saying that it
so
doesn't
the law-
happen,
the
but
law entirely siding
whose
women when it
body
comes to
is
rape.
prone
There
to
is
having
not even in
bruises
Nigerian law
or
you will
pains
see
after
about-
rape?
Go and check it, please. It's there in there. So, but the only thing here is that the aspect of men raping women, we view it from the violent point of view, and we see the women as less. They don't
Probably
have the
weaker
power
sex
to
like that.
Yeah.
So these things for me. No, for me, I think in our constitution, rape has to do with life imprisonment. It's not even.
Yeah, 20 years
It's not
ago.
even.
A lot of
20
men
years,
in
not
Ozoro
even
should have
20.
been in prison by now.
Exactly, but for the fact that though there was a restriction to that order, they said that you shouldn't come out as a woman. But their tradition is
Whatever
is
that
bullcrap.
is. Yeah.
It has
Whatever
nothing to do-
rubbish that
very
is.
diabolical.
even no man. I think there was a gathering we had. They were talking about gender-based violence. They were talking about some were giving excuses of women dressing unclad, half unclad or whatever. But this is not an excuse for you to go and rape. If somebody did not give you consent, you
have no
also-
rights,
you
whether
have
the
no
person
rights
is naked or
whether
not.
naked or not. So please, the cases of that one, they are talking about their tradition there. But this is a country that their tradition is under a particular country that has a rule of
Has a
law
constitution.
concerning rape cases. So I believe that the government should invest more into the case of what happened in the Ozoro community, then fish out the perpetrators. They will have to face the law. Because this thing gives room to making it as if that is
Normal.
Is a normal thing. Why do you tell people to sit at home and if they see you? Because I saw one video, it was very dehumanizing. Because the lady in question dressed well, they were tearing all her. What do you want to see? So these things, but I believe we are in a country where they don't take rape like that. Like we don't.
It's not serious to them.
Exactly. So but in the US, you know what happens when you have to. So these are the issues. So in this case of Ozoro and rape in general, I believe that the government have to enforce the law. Enforcement of the law is the most important aspect here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel. See how they all avoided the part where they said they should cut off the
There's no way you can
cut off the
castration
That's
genital.
also-
is the
that's
Cut it
human
off, but that's
also.
the only way. If one man is used as an example, I believe that every other man they will
So what
adjust
should-
in
Okay.
case of the bullying 2 years. So please, these are issues that we are facing in the community, in our little places of work, and every other place in the country, and we need to work on it. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.